Hello and welcome to short highlights of the middle race of the Ardennes Classic Sandwich, and that is the 87th edition of La Flèche Wallonne. The question on everyone's minds and mouths, could Tadej Pogačar repeat his Amstel Gold victory on the short but brutally steep final climb of the Mur de Huy and take his first ever La Flèche Wallonne? The course followed a traditional one, the Wallonian arrow heading its way southwestward towards 2.5 laps of the closing circuit of the Huy finishing circuit. Two climbs coming in towards the finish, the Côte de Ref and the Côte de Charave, those that have been used ever since this finishing circuit was settled upon way back in 1985. We had 8 riders in the breakaway. Lawrence Narsson leading them here, as you can see. Daryl Impey was in there again, the South African rider for Israel Premier Tech for the second year in a row. Those 8 riders worked well together, had a lead of about 3.5 minutes at one point, and the chase all the time had been led by UAE Team Emirates. We're seeing shots here of a moment at which Israel Premier Tech started getting interesting. First time across the line, there were 3 passengers of the finish line, it should be said. It was the man who'd started it all, Jakob Hinskål, the Dane, who led the remaining 8 riders through the line. UAE Team Emirates did this all day, chasing, marshalling, setting a tempo at the front and trying to make sure Tadej Pogačar had every opportunity to take his first ever win in La Flèche Wallonne. Gradually the breakaway was breaking down and Søren Kragh Andersen, the Dane, was the strongest in there. He took with him Georg Zimmermann, the German of Intermarché Wanty, and the two of them went through the line with 1 lap to go. It looked like they would be the remaining 2 riders hanging out there. But there were 2 riders going across, Louis Vervaeke of Soudal Quickstep and Samuele Battistella of Astana, Kazakhstan. They hooked up and Vervaeke looked strong, trying to go straight past them, but they hadn't possibly realised just how strong Søren Kragh Andersen was today and the kind of ride he was on. Increasingly, we could see the pink of EF Education doing their work. We thought initially for Neilson Powless, but Neilson Powless came down in this nasty looking crash. He got back up and was okay, but we didn't see him again. Georg Zimmermann the first to be dropped from that group, and Søren Kragh Andersen looking really strong as well. Behind, with 1 lap to go, the chase was still being led by UAE Team Emirates, but in dwindling numbers, and Louis Vervaeke was looking stronger and stronger. UAE Team Emirates down to just 2 or 3 riders left, Diego Alisi and Mark Hirschi stringing things out and getting Tadej Pogačar in a good position, but there were other strongmen around them, notably Ben Healy right there, Matej Skelmoser and Trek Segafredo with multiple options as well. In the end from the breakaway, it was Louis Vervaeke that would go alongside the great River Meuse, heading into the base of the Mur de Huy for the final time. The chase being led by a combination of UAE Team Emirates and the last of those Alpecin de Koenig riders, and Louis Vervaeke would literally be caught as they went onto the Mur de Huy. Initially, they led on being set up by Israel Premier Tech, and then Magnus Sheffield of Ineos Grenadiers did a big lead out. Watch this from Romain Bardet on the outside, looking to launch an attack and being unintentionally squeezed by Mike Woods, the Canadian of Israel Premier Tech, who led into the steepest part of the Mur de Huy. But on his shoulder, that man, Tadej Pogačar, seated, driving, calmly waiting, and then the drill was opened up. The Slovenian digging hard off the steepest bend. Giulio Ciccone and Matej Skelmoser of Trek Segafredo both there. Mikel Landa closing up behind them. But it was Tadej Pogačar who would continue this incredible spring that he has had. The UAE Team Emirates man taking his first ever win at La Flèche Wallonne. And he didn't get it easy. He really did have to work hard for that one. You can see behind him how close it was as well. Mikel Landa closing up on the outside of Ciccone. Matej Skelmoser, the youngster for Trek Segafredo, a brilliant second place just ahead of Mikel Landa. A clear victory for Tadej Pogačar, but by no means an easy one. He was made to work very hard for that, and you can see actually that Skelmoser was closing right up behind Tadej Pogačar on the line. What a win. All that hard work paying off for UAE Team Emirates. Matej Skelmoser in second, Mikel Landa in third, Mike Woods hanging on for 4th, Giulio Ciccone, another great ride from the Trek Segafredo rider, in 5th place.